What's up, everybody? It's Stavansky here, and today we are going to start a journey that will not last a lifetime, but instead, whenever Coffee Stain Studios decides to bless us with 1.0. This playthrough will heavily incorporate a website called Satisfactorytools.com. This website is a tremendous help for people who struggle with the math in this game, or just people who can't handle their spaghetti. Today, we will set a goal to fully automate the production of iron rods, iron plates, screws, wire, cable, and concrete. Now, this might seem like a lot for new players, but trust me when I say this is only the beginning.
Attention Pioneer. The following instructional video is a summary of your impending duties as an exoplanetary pioneer for Fixit Incorporated. Fixit pioneers have 3 cyclical assigned pillars of work to ultimately accomplish project assembly. Use provided blueprints to build the necessary buildings. Chart the planet and gather resources to provide desired results and improve your infrastructure. Make sure to report any unusual discoveries to R&D for analysis. Expand your factories, outposts, and pipelines through automation and augmentation. That's it. Get to work and be effective. Warning, planetfall imminent. Please remain seated during full procedure.
Do I have a
Atmospheric
choice?
entry in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Planetfall procedure initialized. Planetfall complete. Please ensure the integrity of your multi-purpose exploration suit is at 100%. Remember, efficiency first. Godspeed.
Alright, we made it over to our starting area. As you can see, they're telling us to find and collect some iron ores, so that's what we're gonna do, but first we're gonna pick up a whole bunch of this vegetation and collect some stuff for some biomass for later, so we can actually power our factory. Uh, Plants, wood, all that stuff is going to be your main fuel source in the beginning of the game until you can get coal running, which I don't think that's until tier 3, and it's after the first phase of the space elevator. So yeah, we got a little ways to go still. Let's see here. What are they asking me to do? We gotta scan first. They're a little nitpicky with the order you do the tutorial, so you just have to follow the directions. And if you already have played this game, you can skip the tutorial. There's a little checkbox when you're starting your world in the beginning. It says skip phase 0, tier 0, or whatever. Alright, we're going to place down our hub here. This is going to be a very temporary spot. It's going to move around a lot. Alright, and this is basically how you make your resources in the very beginning of the game. You get your iron ore, and you just hammer it down into ingots, and you can choose either plates or rods. And as you can see over the first hub upgrade, we're going to need 10 rods, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Beautiful. We got ourselves a personal miner right here. Portable miner, I should say. Just look at him. Look how cute he is. Hub upgrade 2 is complete, and with that we're going to need some more portable miners on our limestone and copper resources for our next hub upgrade. So now we can create our first smelter here. It's a very basic setup because we don't really have any automation going, but this is going to help us a lot, just getting all these ores smelted down so that I don't have to sit there in the workbench and hammer it manually. Make sure that you do hook up your furnaces to power and make sure you set the recipe. Otherwise, you won't be getting anything. And before we know it, with a little bit of automation and a little bit of dedication, we can upgrade our hub to 4, 5, and you know what? Let's do 6 too. Yeah, there we go. We have made it through the tutorial. We're gonna let Ada here talk finally. We haven't heard her voice since the drop pod.
Building space elevator. Building biomass burner. Part biomass. Motivational message. Congratulations, you succeeded in every provided
Thank
task.
you, Ada.
On behalf of Fixit Incorporated, I thank you for your current and future service.
No problem.
Additional knowledge. The hub terminal has been converted to give access to milestones.
Next, we're going to craft all these leaves into biomass so we have a nice stable source of power for a little bit. And we have our first blown fuse, but that's because we ran out of biomass. So let's go ahead and fill these up and switch that back on. And that should be enough power to get our first assembly line going. These will mainly just be used as a way for me to stockpile resources so we can get these factories that we talked about in the intro going. I'd also like to take this time to show you the layout we're going to be working with in today's episode. On screen you should see some diagrams. The top left one being our iron farm, the bottom left being the copper, and the other one off to the right, that little tiny one, that's the limestone, which makes concrete. These screenshots I took directly from satisfactorytools.com, and as you can see, the website will tell you exactly how many of each machine, as well as each resource you will need, as well as showing you the total power that it will take. Now, this will technically be 3 separate factories, but we're going to try to squeeze them all into one building. So feel free to pause the video if you feel like you need to here. After we've collected enough resources, we can complete our final milestones of the episode. With these, we can unlock foundations, which will help us keep organized and make everything look much cleaner. We also unlock splitters and mergers, which are essential items for all factories.
Milestone reached. Conveyor belts can now merge, split, and lift to increase the complexity and efficiency of your factory. We encourage you to consider more verticality when it comes to factory logistics to streamline short-range transportation.
Next is to tear down all of our assembly lines we made earlier. If you press F, you open up the delete function, and if you hold down Control, you can just drag your mouse over all the parts you want to delete. It'll delete all of them at once, and you can do up to 50 parts at a time. If your inventory is full, there will be a box that has everything you couldn't fit. Please make sure you clean that up, because it's going to annoy the crap out of you later. Next up, we will actually start laying the foundations where our machines will sit. I believe this platform is an 11 by 10. Another beginner tip is when you're building, you can actually zoop the foundations so you're not all placing them one by one. Once you've got a platform, I like to build an area where all the items will be stored close together. I also like to keep it all close to the hub so we can minimize running back and forth, because there's a lot of that in this game. The trees will get in your way, but later we will learn something that can just get rid of them, so don't worry about that for too long. Another really nice thing about foundations is you can actually place them low enough to the ground so that the miners will still be placed on the foundations and still be functional. Hey, we can finally start placing some real machinery now. Of course, we're going to start with the smelters. Now would probably be a great time to explain the two main ways to distribute items in this game. We have technique number 1, which is called a balancer. With this style, you can ensure that each machine is for sure getting enough resources at a steady pace at all times. However, this setup requires a lot more space, and sometimes it requires an entirely different floor just for logistics. Technique number 2 is called a manifold. This method can be a lot slower to start up, but saves a lot of space and, in my opinion, headaches. I will leave a link to a Reddit post that should help explain these methods a little more in depth if you feel you don't fully understand. At this point, you can tell we are using a manifold for our factory here. As I said before, this setup is slower to start up, and that's because you must wait for all the resources to balance themselves out, meaning that the furthest away machines will not be 100% efficient to start. And to add to that, we have an unlocked overclocking or underclocking. So yes, some of your machines will have a yellow light instead of a green one. Don't worry, over time the machines will fill up with resources and they'll balance themselves out. So, if you've made it this far in the episode, awesome, and thank you. Now, the series doesn't exactly have an end goal, but it's more to follow along the development of the game. Who knows when 1.0 is coming out? Nobody. Not even the devs know this. So I thought it would be fun to see how far we can make it in this world without stopping until the day 1.0 releases. If you think you're interested, click that subscribe button and make sure notifications are turned on. Also, maybe think about hitting that like button, as it does help me out tremendously. I'm excited to see how far we can push the limits of this game and see what interesting factories await us. Now let's set up a little area for some power. All we're really doing here is creating a platform for some biomass burners. If you hold control while you're looking at the side of the burners, you can actually place them right next to each other. It helps keep everything in line. Speaking of lines, do not ever forget to connect all your machines to power lines, otherwise your factory will be very inefficient, and Fixit does not approve of this. Once you've got power flowing, you can see a chart by pressing on one of the power poles. This chart will tell you if you've got enough power for all the machines you've got running. The blue line is your max consumption, and the light gray line is your max capacity. Also, don't be like me and forget to connect your miners to the power lines. It's just going to slow everything way down. Now, as we put the finishing touches on our factory, I'd like to give you a good bird's eye view of what the end product is going to be. At the bottom of the screen here, you can see iron being processed into plates, screws, and rods. On the top left is where the copper is being processed into wires and cables. Finally, we have a small concrete setup in the top right. Now, I'm going to let all these resources stockpile a bit, so in the next episode we can actually make some serious progress. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next one.